except
We
for
can't write?
verbally, you cannot write.
Oh, okay, got it. That's even better because
Yeah.
we can just that
I
involves.
don't type fast.
Yes.
I talk fast. I don't type fast.
Is that going to get in the way of our?
No, the back's got to be clear for the thing to go through the mat.
Oh my God!
We got it.
I wasn't even thinking we needed to set this thing up. Are we live?
You are live.
Hello.
Hello again. Sorry about that. We thought I thought I could just set this up all on my own, and then well, I got it halfway done.
You did. You got the best half done.
So Michelle and
Is that
I.
going to clear the mat in the back?
Yes, it will.
Michelle and I are going to get ready to start our cutting, and the project that we're working on right now is,
The Nativity.
yes, it is the Kimberbell Nativity pillow. And I've always wanted to cut my applique pieces on the Nativity, my applique pieces on the Scan-A-Cut. I've always been too much of a chicken. So I've been calling her my sensei. Hi.
Hello.
We're here.
Hey.
I know, we finally did it. We've been talking about this for weeks and it's finally happening. So Michelle is my sensei. You all know Michelle.
Hiya.
Let me see if I can get this.
There we go.
There's Michelle.
Hi.
And all the prep work, there really wasn't that much prep work. Michelle, today was like, okay, we have to show them this and you have to show them that. And I was like, you're going to show me and we're going to show them. So I didn't really have to prep anything. The only thing that I really did, hello in Indiana.
Hello.
Is I prepped the fabric. So, and I think you heard me talk about it this morning because I looked at the back of this and it was bubbling. And I went, oh no, I'm going to have to press that again. I was like, let me have Michelle check it. So when I brought it back to Michelle, she peeled it back a little bit and she looked to make sure that the fusible was adhered really well, which it was. And she said I was fine.
All good to go.
So I panicked for nothing, but that's my constant state.
Well,
I live in a state of constant panic. So because I know I didn't send this stuff out until later, if you've already cut your pieces as per the instructions, so your instructions on page 5, if you already cut these pieces, and what we're going to be cutting today is going to be F1, which is the royal icing, and that's the light white, the white. F2, which is coconut cream, which is the creamier of those whites. If you already pre-cut these and put shape flex on it, that's totally fine too. Michelle is gonna show me, and I'm gonna show you how you can just drag the file the cut image onto those squares, and so you can cut those. So it's not a big deal. The last thing was F4, and this is gonna be our 2 palm trees and the stable. So I don't know if anyone has any questions. And I say, okay, so what's the difference between Hot Fix and Heat and Bond Light?
So Hot Fix adheres permanently. It is thinner. It is finer. And I just feel like the adhesion can be better than Heat and Bond Light. But if you have Heat and Bond Light, you can certainly use Heat and Bond Light. Heat and Bond Light, you're going to leave the paper on.
So
the Hot Fix, you can take the paper off.
okay, so and you know what I thought was really interesting, when I looked at the instructions, it said on the top of this, because I never read anything, but I didn't know how to use this. It said right here, this is a fusible designed to work with Scan-A-Cut Cricut Silhouette. So this is meant to be used with your cutter.
The knife goes through it, but easier.
Yeah, it's meant to be used with a cutter, whereas I don't know if like Heat and Bond Light and Decor Bond and all those other ones, I don't know if they're specifically made to be used with a cutter. This one is made to be used with a cutter.
It is. It's nice stuff. It is nice. I have a couple of them that are my favorite. We all have our favorites. And each of them has a plus and a minus. So with anything like Hot Fix, Heat and Bond Light, Misty Fuse, things like that, you can't put the glue side down to the mat, which means you have to remember to mirror image your design because you're cutting it backwards. With the Brother heat transfer that you can put on the back for applique, that one, if it's adhered properly, you can just put it glue side down to the mat. It doesn't stay on the mat. So it just depends on what you want to use. Whatever you're used to using usually works pretty well, but I really have always liked this stuff. I've had it for a while.
And I'm using it for the very first time, so I have no opinion. Using one of those with the cutter is my first time, so I have no opinion.
Okay.
Okay, so in the instructions, it did say with this that you could just starch it, you recommended you could heavily starch it, and then we could have put it on the hot fix, but I had already put the Shape Flex on everything, and I think it's going to be fine. So mine does have Shape Flex, but if you wanted to try this, and it said heavily starch, and Michelle, what would you recommend they use if it says heavily starched?
To me, heavily starched is what I call secret sauce, which is a mixture of half Terreal Magic and half Best Press. And I apologize, I'm still getting well.
Yeah, so that's an option as well. I posted this. This is posted to our A1 Sew Along page, and I put in and what's on here are going to be the measurements that we're going to be using, because instead of cutting this into like 2 or 3 different pieces, we just left it as one, and then we're going to put our cut files. We're going to just fit them onto this piece. Same with these other pieces.
All right.
So
can I do a couple of tips first before we start?
Okay. So Michelle's got a couple of tips for you.
So if you
this camera, it's hard to. There's like a sticky spot on the ball.
Yeah. If you don't normally use your Scan and Cut, or you're just getting used to a Scan and Cut, do not expect it to be a time saver right away, because there's a little bit of a learning curve. Today, Jeannie and I are going to show you a couple of different ways. So we're going to show you first how to use the SVG files right out of the file. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead for me means sit tight, because I don't know what I'm doing. But you know what I can start with? I could probably start with turning on the Scan and Cut.
Yes.
So let me get a drink of water, and I'm going to go ahead and turn on the Scan and Cut. Michelle and I are both getting a drink of water. Okay. Here we have, this is the 330D. I actually didn't bring mine. Mine's the 225, so it was like the generation before this. And this light, I'm assuming, Michelle, means that we're already on?
Yeah, just touch it again. It'll wake up. No, there you go.
Okay. So see, I don't even know that.
All right.
So if you see that light, it's just asleep, and I just touched the power button again.
Okay. So a couple of things to think about with the Scan and Cut. You can use the SVG files directly from your Kimberbell set. What's different is each one of those files are going to come in one piece at a time. So it means you have to open them, save them to your Scan and Cut.
Which we're going
to do. And then you have to group them appropriately for the whatever color you're going to be working with. Now, an alternative would be what I did when I looked at this, and I'm like, I'm not going to work this hard.
Wait, is this what we're going to do?
We can do it both ways. I can do it. I can show it the other way as well. I'll do a video of the other way.
We're not going to do this?
Yeah, we're going to do that.
Okay,
but,
so let's just show them.
Okay, but so I did them in Canvas. So you can open all those SVGs in Canvas and put them all together.
That's the easiest way?
That's the easiest way, yeah.
Well, can we do that today?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's do that. Michelle's going to walk us through the easiest way.
Okay. I'm just needing.
Could you have Patrick? Oh, ask Graydon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, so that's the easiest way. So that's what Michelle's going to show us. And actually, do I need to grab my computer?
Nope. I can do it right here.
So, I want to. So I'm going to do it.
Okay.
So, because what we're doing today is you're gonna get the newbie experience.
Okay.
So
get yours.
Let me go grab it really quick.
So I will entertain them
Yes.
while you're gone. So if you're just getting used to for your Scan and Cut, and you haven't taken the Get to Know Your Scan and Cut class, you should take that class. I spend 4 hours with you on that class, and you will cut everything from nuts to bolts. And learn about all of the different mats, the different knives, the different blades, everything and why I choose what I choose and when to make a change. It also involves a little bit of getting you used to canvas, and it doesn't have to be overwhelming. We take little small bites at a time. So if you haven't taken that class, please consider signing up for it. I run it about every other month. Everybody that's taken it has had good positive response to it. And then from then, I put on Scan and Cut Club classes, which are classes that just do specific things. But having taken the Get to Know Your Scan and Cut class is actually mandatory for the other ones so that we can move forward.
I'm breaking the rules. I didn't take my class
That's
yet.
all right.
Okay, so this morning I was like, okay, what do we have to do? And I can't believe I forgot to bring over my computer. But we're going to get onto Canvas. I mean, I struggle just getting onto Canvas. So there's two different canvases.
There's two different canvases, not to be frightened. One is totally web-based, meaning you
Hang on.
have to be online.
Let me get that out of there.
You have to be online to use it. And the other one is app-based. So what Jeannie's opening now is what we call the app-based version. It's the one where there's a little flower that lives on your desktop.
Yeah, so I have this little guy here.
Yeah.
Whoops. Shoot. Okay, and this is the one that you did it on?
You can do it in either one. Both
Okay.
of them have, you just have to be able to import. Let me open up the same one and we can follow each other. It'll be like monkey see, monkey do.
Lynn, I'm so unsure of myself right now, so this is perfect for you. It's perfect for whoever is unsure. So on this is just the what Kimberbell sent us, the SVG files.
Yes.
I've never opened an SVG file, but I just Michelle just copied it from what you would have gotten on the CD. So I'm gonna go ahead and
put
pop
that
this
in there.
in. I'm nervous. Be gentle with me, Michelle.
No.
All right.
Let me get my whip.
Okay,
Crack
so
the
it's in
whip.
there.
You can go ahead and close
so here,
that. Yeah.
so close this.
Yeah, go ahead and close that. Just so
Okay.
you can. All right. So you're going to start in the upper left corner where it says File and click on File.
Okay, so I'm going right here, File,
And then you're going to go Open.
and we're gonna go Open.
And then you're going to navigate to that folder.
Mine's all the way down at the bottom, so here
Okay.
it is. Here's the folder, and here's the SVGs.
Yep. And then
I'm gonna
just
open
click on
that up.
Open.
Uh-oh. What did I do
Nothing
wrong?
there.
Nothing there.
Okay, let's see if we. All right, I had you open it in the wrong place. Sorry. Okay,
It's okay.
so go down to import from your computer.
Okay,
Try
so
that.
I'm gonna go File,
Import from computer.
Import from Computer. You see that right there? And now go to my USB.
Mhm.
Here's my USB right here. And SVG files,
Mm-hmm.
cutting.
And there we go. They're all there.
Okay, let me make this big so you guys
So
can see
do remember that we will be using the 6x10 today. So as we walk through, actually,
So why isn't it showing a picture like it showed before?
because you don't have software on your computer that recognizes a scalable vector graphic, which is
so
what an
would
SVG
the
is.
software be like? Because I do have PE design.
You have PE design. If you had your PE design, USB in there, it probably would recognize it larger. But
Do you have software that will show it here, or does yours show it like this too?
mine shows it like that.
Okay, so we're all in the same boat.
And a lot of people won't have software. So I think, so you'll notice that they're numbered from 1 to 7, okay? And each one from 1 to 7 is on a different size block. So we're going to be using the 6x10. So even though the size of the designs don't change, we're going to be consistent in picking 1 through 10 of the, the right ones. So go ahead
So the reason why we're not doing the 5x7, if that's the biggest hoop that you have is a 5x7, you're going to be choosing these. But my machine has a hoop larger, so I'm going to be going with the 6x10.
The steps would be the same for the 5x7. So go ahead and click on the first block and then click open down in the lower right. All right, so that opens one piece of the pie.
Ooh.
So if you look at your chart in your Kimberbell book, it tells you what colors, which ones go on which color. So it's on page 4, I believe. I made a notation. Yes, so if you look at page 4, we know that the palm tree is going to go on the darker brown.
Oh my God, if you watched my video yesterday,
Palm tree, stable, palm tree.
if you watched the prep video, I pulled out, it was such a bad prep. If you want to feel good about yourself, watch that prep video. So, and that's going to be this fabric right here. It's the darker brown.
So what we want to do is we want the Scan and Cut Canvas or Canvas Workspace, however you want to call it, gives us the option of selecting each of the files that we want to put them together and save them as one collective file so that we don't have to open all 7 of these SVGs on the ScanNCut.
So can I go back now and I'm going to just bring in the other palm tree in the stable?
Yes, you have
Ooh.
to. Okay, so
All
we're
right.
going to look. So you're
So I'm
going to
going to go back
file.
to file.
But here's a hint. Click on your palm tree for now.
Okay, so let's click on
Put
the
the
palm
box.
tree.
Now that you've got the box, left click and hold and drag the palm tree out of the way because they're all going
Okay.
to stack on top of each other.
All right, so I'm just gonna grab this. I'm gonna, and I know some people struggle with their computers, so I'm just on mine. I can grab here. I'm gonna left click. You can't see my finger,
Whoops. Too
I'm
many
gonna
clicks.
click out.
There we go.
and I'm just
Drag
gonna
them out of the way. So when you import, it's very much the same as when you import a bunch of embroidery designs on your embroidery machine. They stack on top of each other. So we're going to have her put that out of the way for now, and then we can do organizational skills later.
Okay, so I think I go to file. I go import from computer.
Yeah.
And do I know which? I
You
know
don't.
7 is the last palm tree.
Okay, so get number 7
Okay,
because
so
we
I
know
know
that.
that's the last palm tree.
Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. Grab that one and get it out of the way.
Dragging them out of the way. Does it matter?
Nope.
Can I just drag them all the way down
Nope,
here?
you can put them wherever you want. We're going to organize them later. And now what we're looking for, since we're working with the brown fabric, is we're looking for the manger.
So he's one of the middle ones. So I'm just going to guess that he's either 3 or 4. So
Okay.
let's just go 4. Oh,
Look at
good
that.
guess.
All right, so now we
If
have...
it wasn't the one that I wanted,
Mhm, you could just delete the whole thing.
so how do I delete it?
Well, you're
Would
going
I-
to find out in just a minute because you're going to delete the people in there because the people don't go in brown. So
Okay.
just click on one of the persons, one of the peoples,
one of the people.
and then just hit delete on your keyboard.
Okay.
Poof, gone.
And I know you guys didn't see it because you don't see my whole keyboard, so I'll move that. So now I'm going to get rid of this.
You click and poof.
And this. So
Fit.
we'll just show them how we do that first, and then we can show them like our so we just like played with it, and we just trying to get it to see like how we could get it to use the least amount of space. This thing was kind of intuitive to me. There's like a little circle here, so we could swing it around if we want, and these don't have to be at this angle. We could have like swung this around like this. What does that matter that the blue that this part
No,
is
as
outside?
as long as what you're cutting is not outside, you're good.
So we could have just done something like that.
Yeah.
Do we want to leave because I mean we could snug this in even tighter.
Mhm.
Is there an advantage to not doing that?
The only thing I usually advise the students not to do is to take the very edge of the fabric, put it on the very edge of the grid of the mat, and then move your object all the way to the edge. Because if the knife or the blade is going to grab it and pull it off your mat, that's how it's going to happen.
So it would do it right
Give
here.
a margin. Give a little
So
bit of a
should we
margin,
just
like a
take this
quarter
and-
of an inch even, just in and
smooth
down.
that over just
down
a little bit,
Yeah.
and down a little bit.
Yep.
Got it.
Just make
Whoops.
it so that, and you can, once you have it selected, you can use the arrows on your keyboard to move it as well.
Oh, okay. So that's selected. So now I can just use these arrows here.
Oh, yours aren't
Oh
working.
yeah,
Mine.
it's working.
Is it work?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
working. So I could move that over, and I could move it over this
That
way.
tends
and
to
I
be
could
just a
swing
little
it
bit
just
more.
yeah, for precision. So
Precision.
I always tell people when we're doing our classes, like for precision, I use the arrows, and for general placement, I'll just use. Oh, we could have done this too.
Yeah,
I got
there's
it
several
really, really
ways you
tight.
could
So
work it.
This is. I mean. And to me, I imagine if that edge of that palm tree was really close to the stable, there's more chance of it like dragging because there's less fabric that's stuck down to the mat.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, leave a little bit of room outside of that. We are going to go ahead and arrange it like this because this is we size the
I
fabric.
think they're still good because we had them. The brown fabric is cut 9 inches wide by 11 inches tall, so they would still even
so we
in
can
that.
we can leave this because each one of these an
It's
inch.
1 inch.
Okay, so we've got, and this is 11 would be all the way down here.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's
So-
12 of these all together. Let's see if there's any questions. Do you have a monthly subscription to ScanNCut?
Is going to be great. Yeah. A monthly. I don't have a monthly subscription. Oh, we're not really looking at Artspira right now. Artspira did just launch a new subscription platform, but what was originally free is still free, It's still, what was free was free. We're not actually going to address Art Spira today. Non-directional fabric. Yeah, Lynn, so it's just the same as what you would think as if you were cutting a regular paper pattern. If you have directional fabric, then obviously we can spin all of these pieces around the way we've been spinning them. We would be subjected to the pattern of the fabric. Now, please remember, this is always paramount. If you're using just fabric with plain hot fix, nothing else, no SF101. If you're doing that, or you're using plain fabric with the Brother Applique fusible, you can cut with the sticky or fusible side to the mat and the regular side up. We are doing that today. So we have to remember when we get to the scan and cut that we have to mirror image our files. But we're going to save them in the correct position just in case we ever do them again and they're not, because we don't want to rotate them all now because we have them all in place. We'll save the file out, bring the file into the scan and cut, and then just flip it in the scan and cut.
Okay, and we're going to do that together.
So now what we're...
Deanna, I like that comment too, because, I mean, you know how hard it is to cut those little spots? And I can see myself loving this and cutting all my applique pieces. And if we... Yeah, I could see it.
So in order to love it and cut all your applique pieces, the first thing you need to do is find it a place where it's out. It can't be in the box. It can't be on the shelf.
Out.
If you have to look for it or go get it, you will not do it. Okay. Ask me how I know that one. Okay.
So are we done with this one?
Yes, you're going to select file.
So I always thought that when you were doing applique pieces, you needed to... Are SVGs is it built in that they're a little bit bigger?
No, they aren't. So in years past, I guess with the older applique files, some of the satin stitching wouldn't quite cover the edge of the file. In this case, the SVGs are the graphic that the file was created with. If you have a heat fusible on the back, you're going to be fusing it down before the satin stitch happens, so there's no way it can shift. So I really don't actually...
So these are done and ready to go.
They're done and ready to go.
How do you know if it's like an older... Like, how do you know if it's... You just do it and it doesn't fit?
It only happens with really old files. And I would say that files, maybe embroidery designs that were created maybe 10 to 15 years ago.
Okay.
Anything in the last 10 or 8 or 10 years,
You're
all
good.
know. Yeah,
you don't have to.
Everybody that
bigger.
digitizes knows that you need enough to cover. So.
Okay, so what do we do next?
All right, so go back up into your upper left corner and select File. Now this is going to depend on whether you are on the desktop app version, which Jeannie is on, or if you're on the web version. If you're on the web version, she could be sending this to her Scan and Cut right now. This Scan and Cut actually is hooked up to Jeannie's Canvas account. So if that's the case, you can do export, transfer, FCM file. So
that's exciting. Okay.
All right. So you're going to export FCM file. So you're going to click on the wireless one. And why did it not give you the choice? Export, transferred. Try it again.
Okay.
Let's close that window. Transfer by the internet. There we go. I just have you push the wrong one. There you go.
Yeah, here's my little Wi-Fi symbol.
The registered machine is ready to download the transfer file.
I've never done this.
All right. So now, where did it go? Jeannie, go ahead and...
It's on my machine, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
so go ahead.
Let me get
Go
this
to your
out of the
machine.
way.
Yeah. Touch the wireless, the pocket with the cloud.
This.
And voila! Poof! There is your file.
Wow. That was easy and awesome, and I didn't have to go via USB or anything because I lose USBs.
So now what we're going to do is we're going to select edit because we want to group all of these three pieces together so that we don't have to flip them one at a time.
Okay, so let me so you guys can see this, and I'll open this back
So
up
again, one of the advantages of saving it out of Canvas and saving it as a separate file is you can do it. Okay, select object edit.
And then maybe the next one we can do that with the USB in case people can't go wirelessly.
Okay. See, it's showing me right now that it's not grouped. This is grayed out. So go ahead and select OK. And then you're going to select this right here.
So this is one button, right?
Yep.
That's my grouping button?
Yep. It's
Okay, so
it's
we're
going to
press
tell
the
me,
grouping
what do
button.
I want to do? Do I want to select a piece or all of it? You're going to select all of it. It grabs all the pieces.
Okay.
Select OK. Then go back to Object Edit and touch Group. That's your group button. Perfect. So now, now you can mirror image it right here, just like on our machines.
This one?
Yeah.
I've never used that.
It's the same button as on our machines. Poof, you're done and ready to go.
All right. Should we go ahead and cut that one?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I don't even know how to get a mat ready. So you guys ready? I'm gonna back this up just a little bit so we can have some
First
room.
of us, let's make sure that if they are using their scan and cut and they're cutting along with us, that they are set up. So for one thing, I'd like for you to go ahead and open the door again. And I want everybody to reach behind their scan and cut because there's a little door out there that you're going to pull out. It's a mat support.
Oh, I just pulled it out. You can't see it, but it's out.
All right, and then I want you to look on the left side of your machine and you will see a switch over there that says a 1 and a 2. You should be on position 1.
I am on 2.
Oh, okay.
So go to 1?
Yeah, go to 1.
What's the difference between 1 and 2?
1 and 2 moves the mat closer or further away from the scanner.
So
if you have something thick, and the machine will tell you. If it says that you need to go to position 2, it'll tell you on the screen that you need to go to position 2 because it actually senses what's on there.
So it has to do with the thickness of the fabric or whatever you're putting on your mat?
Yes, and also it has to do with the scanner. So when you're using your machine to cut, obviously the mat's going to be up closer to the blade. When you're using your machine to scan an image, it's going to say, change to position 2 to go in so that it actually accesses the scanner at a closer image.
Okay, that all went over my head.
The machine tells you.
The machine will tell you.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we hadn't switched it to 1, it would tell us?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Yay!
All right,
I'm
so
going to move
we
this
are
just so we can put our mat.
We are using
see
a
our mat.
fabric mat today
How do you know it's the fabric mat?
because it says fabric mat and it's gold.
Okay, so gold is your fabric mat, and it says right here that it's your fabric mat. And I asked Michelle when I got here, I was like, is the mat ready? Is it clean, ready to go? And Michelle said that she cleans it after. I mean, what great habits, right? Because I know the last time I used my fabric mat, I didn't clean it. I just hung it on the wall. But Michelle said she cleans it
After every use.
After every use. So we're going to remove the carrier.
Remove
is that
the
what
carrier.
this is called?
That's what that
So
plastic
we're going
is.
to remove the carrier. Let's
And,
get that out of the way.
All right, Jeannie, put your
And
phone down. on that.
don't throw that away. You
No.
keep it there to protect
That's
your
for
mat and
protecting.
keep all the icky hairs off of it. And you wanted me to do what?
I want you to put your hand on the middle of the mat and feel how sticky it is.
It's pretty sticky.
Yeah.
You can hear that.
So that's the idea of the fabric mat. Is it stickier than your standard tack or your low tack mat?
So Patrick was telling me they're not making the fabric mat anymore.
I heard that. However, my belief is that something better is coming.
That's not what Josh told him. They were just discontinuing it. So let's say you're at home and you don't have a fabric mat. What are your options?
So your options are when we had the earlier versions of Scan and Cut, we had a what they call a high tack fabric support sheet, but and it works just the same. It's just that with this one, it's not like trying to put a sheet protector or a screen protector. It's a pain in the butt.
Can they just get away with a low tack or a standard?
They could get away with a standard tack mat. I just don't feel like sometimes fabric sticks as well to a standard tack mat.
What if you use the standard and then that scraper thing?
Deanna, there is no Scan and Cut electrostatic mat. So if you're talking about that, it could be an aftermarket product. And so I would not have information about that. So anyway, you could use a high tack fabric support sheet. I'll tell you what I even do in a pinch. Please, please, please never spray any kind of spray adhesive onto your mat. And here's why. Your machine has a scanner that has a glass that you cannot get to clean.
Ooh.
If you get glue or any kind of spray fixative, whether it's, fast tack or whatever, or KK100, if you get that stuck to the glass, you have just done damage to your machine that you can't clean.
Yeah, you can't get it off of that little. that little camera
Here's how you can get around
or
that.
the lens.
You spray the back of the fabric,
Okay.
not the mat.
So if we would not spray the mat, but we are okay just a little spray on the back
On the
of the fabric.
Yeah.
Okay.
In this case, we'd be spraying the front because we have to flip it over.
So Donna Anderson had a question. Do you have to make the applique larger if you're doing raw edge applique?
Yes. If you're doing raw edge applique, you would have to make it larger. Now, here's one of the really cool features built in on the ScanNCut is you have a button to create an offset line. So you can actually see how much bigger you're making it.
And that's for another class, but yes.
That is in the Get to Know Your ScanNCut class.
Sorry, I missed something about getting to that. I'll go over how to find the file later. Why are we reversing it? Is it going to go down like this?
No, it's going to be reversed because
that's why.
We have too many things on the back of this piece of fabric. We have SF101. Yeah, we have SF101. We have Hot Fix. All of that stuff. I'm not going to put all of that stuff down to the mat.
So,
because there's a likelihood that when I go to pull it up, I'm going to be pulling the
one
SF.
Of the layers might come off.
One of the layers is going to come off.
So I think, Deanna, if you have fabric side up, then you just do it regular.
Yes.
If you go fabric side down, then you're going to reverse.
Image.
Then you're mirror imaging.
Yeah.
I'm learning. Yay! Okay, this is... Susan, is this so much help for you? Because this is so much help for me. I'm like getting kind of excited.
Renata, I clean all my mats with Totally Awesome, and I clean them after every use. And I have mats.
Have a bottle here?
I have mats.
It's okay. We'll grab it later.
Here it is.
Okay.
I have mats that I have had for years.
This is Totally Awesome, and big trick. It not really a trick, but we just buy this at the dollar store. Is the dollar store even $1 anymore? Is
it's
it
$1.25. Yeah.
Okay, so $1.25 at the dollar store. I don't think they make the yellow anymore. I think it's pink.
Well, the pink is supposed to be cherry blossom. There's nothing cherry blossom about that fragrance.
The most recent ones that I've purchased have been pink. So, but just look for Totally Awesome. To clean your mat, you're going to spray it and then you're going to wipe it down. Do not let this sit on your mat because I think it'll eat it or damage it.
It does. And I show that at the end of the class on the Get to Know Your ScanNCut, that sometimes on the fabric mat, if I've cut something like felt or something like that, then I sometimes have to go over it twice.
I know a 24. Well, they're getting rid of the fabric mat totally, so maybe there is something bigger and better coming out. So Lynn had asked what's on the fabric, and so I have the fabric, I have Shape Flex, and then I have the Hot Fix, and this is the protective carrier that came on the Hot Fix. So, and we're going to be pulling that off. Let's make sure we didn't miss anything else. I was thinking...
I don't know. I buy the big bottles all the time, and I haven't found that they're any super concentrated more than the Totally Awesome. And I think this one actually on the spray bottle says it should be diluted as well.
I might second. Okay. I think we're ready, Michelle. What do we do? Are we
So
going
you're going to put your
down?
fabric down.
Okay, so am I going to
pull off that carrier
So I'm going to
sheet.
take off the carrier, and this is the one that was kind of bubbled that I was like, oh my God, I did a bad job. So we're going to take that off.
Have that for just a minute. Yep. Okay, so if you are using Heat and Bond, you are going to leave your carrier sheet on because the Heat and Bond light is stickier and the blade sticks in it when it tries to cut. The Hot Fix is completely smooth. It feels almost like vinyl.
It doesn't. Yeah, there's nothing sticky about it.
There's nothing for the blade to stick in. So you're going to put that face down.
Am I going to go right to the 0?
You can go right to the 0, and but because we're going to move your design. Your design is already moved in.
What happens if I go over the black?
You can go over the black on the sides. You shouldn't because it's going to be underneath the wheels.
Okay.
But you can't on the top because the machine won't be able to read the mat.
Okay, so we're going to... See, I told you guys I was going to have a lot of... These are all the questions that pop into my head.
And then I'm going to give you a little roller to roll. I had one here. Here it is.
So do you always roll your fabric down?
When you have this many layers,
is the brayer.
Yes. That's a brayer, yeah.
And how much do I...
Not a lot, just enough.
Okay.
And again, a lot of this is going to have to do with the stick on your mat. So you can see ours sticks really good because I clean it all the time.
Because Michelle's so good at taking care of her mat. My mat would probably suck.
Even there, you can see that we're getting a little bit of lift.
Yeah. So should I just try and... Okay, there we go. I think it's pretty good.
Good.
Do you think that's okay?
Yeah, let's see.
Sensei Michelle.
So the other thing you can always have handy too is a piece of is like washi tape. The only problem with washi tape is as long as all you're cutting is an outline around something, then the washi tape would hold down your fabric quite nicely on pretty much any mat. However, we have a manger or a stable, whatever that is, that has little tiny cuts in the center. And if your fabric is not stuck down, then
Get it
those
down
little
real-
tiny cuts in the center are going to
drag.
bubble up. Yeah, you're going to.
So if I were to use washi tape, we can't put it up here, right? Can't cover that.
No, I always used to use the sides. Do the sides
So
and bottom.
just like here
Yeah.
and here is where we put our
Yeah.
washi tape.
Yeah.
All right, are we ready?
We are. So,
Okay,
I'm going to show Jeannie how to load a mat, and you guys might want to watch too if you've never done this. So, one of the big misconceptions is that you have to hold it, press it, push it, do anything. You don't. You have two little pull back a little
This
bit.
is so fun.
Did you charge Terry for the digital dual feed walking foot?
She bought it online.
She bought it online.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, you have
Yeah,
two.
you're all set.
You have two recessions here.
Okay, here.
All right.
Let's get a.
You have a little recession here, a little recession here. The only thing you are doing is placing the mat under the wheel. That's it. Let go of it. And then just push your mat feed.
Okay, so
So you're just getting the edge of the mat underneath the wheel and pushing the mat feed. Look at that. So why don't you push it? Why don't you force it? Why don't you hold it up? Why don't you have hands here? Why don't you do all those things? Because if you bend any corner of this mat, you're going to get a message that says it can't recognize the mat because you have bent one of the places where it reads, and that mat will be totally unusable going forward.
did you hear
So,
that? Do not bend your corners.
Lady
Don't
Fair,
force it.
I do not recommend painter's tape because if the painter's tape doesn't always stick completely, and again, it's something that can get wrapped around the scanner on the inside of the machine. And we do have a customer that had that happen.
No painter's tape. Plus, washi tape is so much cuter.
You can do
ladies.
washi, you can do
about,
Timberbell paper tape, you can do OESD paper tape, you can do any kind
Oops,
of paper
sorry about
tape
that.
like that. Please, no painter's tape. You just run the risk of it lifting up a little bit as the mat goes through, catching on the roller or catching on something on the inside of the machine, and the machine has to come in so that the boys can take it apart.
Yep.
So,
Okay, so we're now what? Now I'm like ready to get trigger happy and start pushing all the buttons.
but you know what? You can. So go ahead and select OK. All right, and then go ahead and select OK again. And then go ahead and select OK again because we don't have to do anything else. And then it says, please select. So go ahead and touch that button. And you're going to want to cut.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's so scary.
All right, so now we're going to look for a minute and we're going to look in here. Because if you've used your machine before, some of these settings may have been changed. One of my favorite parts of the Scan and Cut is that if you need to change a setting, you'll see a wrench that deals with just that setting. So I'm just going to open it and make sure everything's on auto. And you see that the last thing I cut, I slowed the speed down. So go ahead and increase it till you get a black box. Perfect.
Oh, there's my default.
Yep.
Black box.
And cut pressure auto is fine. Yep. That's it. And why we leave the pressure on auto, the cut pressure on auto. So one of the things I tell the people, my students in the Scan and Cut class is never, never, never have cut pressure be your first choice if it didn't cut through. Because then you are definitely taking it out of auto and you can cut through a mat.
Oh,
As long as you're in auto, it won't cut. It doesn't matter if you have to press go again. Just press go again. It's never going to cut through the mat as long as it's in auto. All right?
Okay.
Yep.
We're
Okay.
good?
Now we
Settings
got
are good?
Yep. We got to put something in there to cut with, though, Jeannie. You got no blade in there.
Oh, look at that. Nothing. And I just would have started. So,
Let's go
right.
ahead and put the fabric blade in.
I don't know. I probably did when I first got mine, but I haven't put a blade in. So
All
here
right,
we
so
go.
look at the back.
So I'm going to pull that down.
Look at the back of your cartridge. It has little recessions in it that fit into the slots on the back where it goes.
Oh,
Do you
yeah.
see
So
that?
I think what Michelle's talking about is right here, and
Uh-huh.
then there's these little sticky outy things.
Yeah,
that you
so
shouldn't
just slide
touch
it
too hard.
in,
Okay.
push
Do
it down, and then push the door down. Perfect. If the door goes down, it's in place.
Is this the door? Is
Yeah,
this what the
that's
door
it.
is?
That's the
okay.
little door. All right, and then just Are we ready? Just press start.
It's so, okay, here we go.
I'm going to be watching here. I'm going to be watching to see if my fabric's moving, if anything's happening, if anything it looks bad or like it's going to go south.
What if something is going bad? Is there stop
there's
or
a pause
Oh,
button.
yeah. There we go. So here's our pause button right here. So if you start to panic. Oh,
Yep. Okay, so I set the pause button to quit cutting. So I'm going to unload the mat. So that's telling me that my mat is not sticky enough. This is still salvageable.
okay.
So I'm just going to grab a new mat because this is obviously not going to stick to this.
We talked about that today.
We did.
Michelle and I were
We did.
talked about it. Should I get another? Should we cut something else? and
Yeah, we
prep
probably
another
should
piece?
because I won't be able to stick it to the mat. So it happens to all of us. Our mat's not sticky enough. So that means this one's toast. I will save it to put a high-tack support sheet on it.
Right? So it happens to us too. Did you scan the map first? So I didn't scan the map first, but if you had your pieces all pre-cut and you were going to put them down, I think you would scan your map first. And that's just me kind of guessing with what makes sense so that you could pull each individual piece out. So I wonder if we could still go the other way.
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to delete one of the trees where you started to cut. And
And
then
maybe
we're
we could
just
go
going to do
this-
the rest of the project. So
Okay.
I heard about the scanning part. So when we did this file on
New mat.
Canvas, new mat. When
Okay.
we did this file in Canvas, we did it with a mat behind it. We put our fabric within those squares on the mat. There was no need to scan it. We put our fabric where it needed to go.
Okay,
All right.
face down because we mirror imaged. And do you want me to switch
the same
this
place,
way?
the same way. We're going to go back and edit the file to get rid of that first tree, and then we'll just cut the other first tree later.
I wonder
See?
if we could we scan it and try and fit it on here around
When we
this?
get done, we can. But we'd have to, because we won't have enough where that cut out.
Are you sure? Could
I'm
we try?
positive. You can try, but
Like, could we try and like fit it?
it's not going to work. It's not like the machine where you can line it up. You know, like the machine where you can scan your thing and then line your embroidery design up. So it's not. We have the stable here and another tree here.
Yeah.
We don't have enough for that.
Okay.
I mean, you can try it if you want
Let's
to.
try. Let's just we
Okay.
could look at how we could scan. Do I need to brayer it on more? You think, or you think we're good?
This should be. Go
'Cause
ahead and
this is
do
brand
it.
new.
So I'm going to go ahead and select quit cutting.
Okay, hang on. Let's let them see. So if this happens to you,
All right. So here's what normally I would do, and then we'll do it the other way as well.
let's see what we can fit on.
Okay, let me show them this way first, because
Okay.
once this is gone, I won't be able to. All right. So what I would normally do is I have a flaw
So,
right here
right
in the
here.
middle of my fabric, and I know I don't have fabric below here. I know because that's the size I cut the fabric. So even if I swivel things around, I'm not going to be able to have both of those things happen. However, I only cut like right here, so I could possibly move these guys over. And then if there was enough fabric left, I could cut the single one. All right, do you see what I'm saying? So when I could go back, and I could go back to edit, I can ungroup them.
Okay. Could you explain to me, and I can go ahead and.
Okay, so go ahead and touch outside, so of the red squares on the mat. All right, so we want to keep that one. We want to get rid of this one.
So could we scan this first, and could we snug this all the way over and see if we could maybe swing the tree?
Yep, you can try that.
Let's try that.
Okay.
We're gonna do some because I want it to be real life. Like if I was home by myself, what I would do, and
All right,
okay, so
you have to load your mat.
is this my mat?
Mhm.
Okay. So let's go ahead and let's scan and see what we could fit on here. We probably don't have room, but let's go ahead and give it
All
a
right,
try.
so this is your scanning button.
Okay, so we're going to scan what's on here. Scan the mat and show as background. Put material to scan on mat and set it to the machine. Press the start key.
Angela, it depends on what you're working with, what fabric you're working with, and what you're putting it on. So no, you don't always have to do that. So what you will get an opportunity to see is that as we had it grouped before we started cutting, there was no need to scan it because we placed our fabric within the margins.
So I wonder if can I move these all individually now?
Yep, edit,
So we'll go edit.
and then touch what you want to move.
So it's already around the manger.
Uh-huh.
So is this a move? Where's my move arrows?
Right here.
Okay, so here's my move arrows. Oh, go ahead. Oh, yeah.
Remember, not all the way to the
Oh,
edge.
yeah. And then
Because that's a great way for it to grab the edge of it and go off the edge. Pull it with it. Then go down maybe a little bit with that. I think Jeannie was right.
let's
now
go ahead,
just-
swing that around.
But you have, go back.
Is this
Okay.
This is back?
No, okay.
Okay.
And then what we want to do is object edit and then rotate.
Is this rotate?
Mhm.
Okay. Let's see.
So
what
you've
I
got the
can-
red box around what you want to rotate and then just move it over.
Let's see. How close are we? We might have to swing this around a little bit. I wonder if I could put
I think you're going
this
to
tree
be,
there. Let me
yeah,
get
you
this
could
one.
probably do that one over there. Oop.
Whoops. This is what happens when I start using my finger. I'm going to say okay and select. Where do I get the select so I can get the other tree because they're kind of on top of each other.
Just touch lower.
But I want to move that and it's moving.
That's
other
the
stuff.
one that's moving. They're not grouped, so it's only going to move one piece at a time. That looks pretty good, Jeannie.
Let me see if I can get that.
So
I'm gonna
I think
rotate
you
them a little bit.
little bit, like maybe 10%. I think you got it.
Right? Because this is real life, right? This is what's going to happen to us. And how do I get to my arrows?
Okay, you're overlapping your.
How do I get to my arrows?
Okay. And then.
Okay, again?
Mhm. And then. There.
Okay, got it.
I think you got it.
Do you think we got it?
I think you got it.
Might
Look
have
at your
gotten it.
tree edge there, though, on the
It's
side.
close to the. Okay, what do you think? Can
think
we
it's
try
good.
and do that?
Let's
Alright.
look at it up close by touching the magnifying glass.
Ooh, magnifying glass.
And you can see we have plenty of
Is
space.
this my arrow down?
Yes, this.
Oh, I don't want to move. I
No,
want to
so
move this
these arrows
green.
here move whatever's in the
And
red
there.
box.
And we could move it even more if we wanted to, but do you think we're good?
I think you're good.
Okay. There
Okay.
we go. We have
So
a big
select-
enough piece.
okay.
And we have
Okay.
a stickier mat.
And okay. And okay.
And that way I didn't
And
have to
then
go.
please select.
And you know what? Like when
And
things
cut.
go wrong, that's like learning moments, right? We were able to
Of
like
course.
play around with that. Okay.
Start.
Matt's already loaded. And Deanna, you had asked if we were going to use the rotary blade. We're not using the rotary blade because the rotary blade. How much more time does a rotary
It
blade
takes
take?
a lot of time, but I think here's what my 2 cents worth is on the rotary blade. I love my rotary
Uh-oh.
blade. It is still not sticking. So
So is
I'm
that
gonna do
not?
it's
is
I
that
think
just
it's
me
the
not?
it's all the layers.
It's all the layers.
Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna switch to the rotary cutter.
So what am I doing wrong? Because you did yours and you did the samples with the hot fix. So is there something wrong with the way I prepped?
I don't know. Sometimes with the SF-101, you have to figure that you're using a woven, and a woven is like 2 layers.
Okay.
So there's 2 things I could do. I can either change the blade on the fabric blade, or I can go to the standard blade, and this one I know needs a new blade because I used it last time. And I
don't even know. Could I change a blade? I've never even.
Yeah, I dropped the cap on it. So these are all things that I teach them in the Scan and Cut class.
Go, Jeannie. Jeannie's having some technical difficulties today.
Okay, so we're gonna make this work. Auto blade, open it up.
Here's the auto blade. This is a brand new auto blade.
Mhm.
All right.
You should always have more than one.
I've never done this before.
So anyway, let me go back to the sentence I started with the rotary blade. I have no problem cutting fabric on a fabric mat with my fabric blade or my standard blade. I have no problem with that. It's never been a problem. I have problems cutting felt. I have problems cutting minky. I have problems cutting things that stretch. I have problems cutting faux fur. I have problems cutting those kind of things. And so those are what I use the rotary blade for.
Okay, and so we're gonna use it. We're using this is a brand new auto
This
blade.
is a brand new auto blade.
What were
and
we
so
using before?
we were using the fabric blade. Now it could be the fabric blade needs to be changed as well. That's a lot of stuff to go through a fabric blade. The fabric
I don't
blade.
even know how to
I know.
open this.
I'm going to show you.
Okay.
Open it. Grab the tip and pull up.
What do you do with this one?
Put it down.
But do you make it a paper blade?
I do.
Do you throw them
I
away?
do. Now pull that little rubber thing off. And there's a magnet in the back that's going to hold that blade down for you. Yep, throw that in there. I'm going to put it on the other one. So I never waste blades. If it doesn't cut, except the fabric one is sometimes tenuous. But if it doesn't cut what I need it to cut, I probably still cuts paper. So I usually just save them and I write paper or something on it. So what we're going to do is we're going to do quick cutting because we don't want it to cut where it did. We're going to have it go over it again.
Quick cutting.
Okay.
Okay.
So that is going to put our blade back in place, and we're going to reload your mat.
Okay, so just put it right here and hit my load button. Would slowing it down help at all?
You can slow it down. So if you're having difficulty, go ahead and press cut. So I'll just talk after it while it's cutting.
Where's cut?
Please select.
Okay.
And then cut. And then start.
Okay.
So having worked with the Scan and Cut since the 300 model about 10 years ago, there's a couple of different things that you can do, and there's a couple of things I've learned.
I'm nervous.
It should be okay this time. Should be being the optimal word. And look at that.
So do you think if we had just started with a brand new mat and a brand new blade?
Yeah. But these are all things that will happen in real life. You're
Yes.
thinking, oh, so I know I've seen some of your mats. I've seen some of them when they come in, and I'm like, oh yeah, that girl needs to learn how to clean her mats once in a while.
And how many of you keep using that rotary blade that doesn't cut? And we don't change the blade out? Same thing.
Cheryl,
with
I do not have an answer for that. I don't know. I don't think so because the fabric blade doesn't necessarily have to do with the fabric mat. And let me go back to the rotary blade, and maybe this will explain it. So I use my rotary blade for things that I can't normally cut on my own. Because if I wear out my fabric blade, it's $16.99 to replace it. If I wear out my rotary blade, cutting things I could cut with my fabric blade, it's $39.99 to replace that one. Plus, it takes twice as long to cut. So I'm very careful about what I choose to use my fabric or my rotary blade on. And we did a rotary blade class, and some of you ladies can speak up because you were in the class. We did a rotary blade class not too long ago where I gave them a whole bag of fabrics that were things they normally would not cut, like stabilizer, Peltex, the stuff you put in some of the bowls to make it, be stiff. We cut leather, we cut suede, we cut minky dot, we cut fleece, we cut all of the things that would give you the creepies if you thought you had to cut it with your blade. So we did a lot of different cutting with that rotary blade, and each cut was perfect. However, it took us a 2-hour class to cut 12 flowers. Because it does take a long time to cut. So for the sake of time and the sake of...
Ooh, what's it doing?
It's just measuring.
So you know what I love about this is I love that we had some difficulties and that we just changed out. So it wasn't the machine. We just changed out our mat and our blade, and we're having a much better cutting experience. Because I usually when people call this store and they have a scan and cut question, my ears automatically shut off, and I'm like, Michelle. So I could see this happening to me at home where I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing wrong? Because it is challenging. We're going through the hot fix, we're going through the shape flex, and we're going through the fabric right now.
So we did scan the mat the second time because we were looking for the place where we already previously cut. But the first time we didn't have to because we actually had the pieces that we were cutting were in the boxes on the top, the little 1-inch boxes on the screen. They were all fit in the area. We cut the fabric to a specific size designed for it.
Linda said she's scared. Don't be scared. Put on your big girl pants, Linda.
Bernadette, the class is not complimentary to anyone. The class is the scan and cut class.
Bernadette, we'll talk to you about that
okay.
later.
All right.
Yeah, normally we charge for that class.
So also know.
I'll get back to you, Bernadette.
Also know that you cut the pieces that have foam behind them. No, we do not.
So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So
Good point.
the things that we're cutting the people, the stable, and we're cutting the angel. We thought about cutting the pieces that had the foam, but if you think about the foam, it pushes everything up. So if you're cutting a piece and it's just big enough to go around it, and maybe you don't lay it down perfectly, you're going to have some issues.
And that's why you did not get an SVG file for those pieces.
Yeah, and Michelle did try to cut the foam.
Yeah, the foam cuts with the rotary cutter quite well if you have the thinner Kimberbell foam.
I think if you use, if you're going to use the Pellon foam, it's thicker.
Yeah,
and so
it is.
We thought it would be too variable to cut all that stuff. So you're going to cut that just like you do the old-fashioned way.
Yeah. It takes time. It takes time for you to get acquainted with it. I'm at the point where I can hear from across the house if it's making a noise I don't like. So it just takes, it's like your sewing machine. You get used to it after a while.
Oh my, Christy, I would be so nervous if Michelle wasn't here next to me. I'd be sweating.
People that have had trouble or struggle cutting fabric, I'll tell you what my first experience. My experience with cutting.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Mm-hmm.
So, do you see how do you think that's how I adhered it? Do you think that's me, that I didn't adhere the hot fix well enough?
It could have been not quite.
Do you see how I have a little bit of this like peeling back? And so I was just wondering, did I not give my hot fix enough time to adhere?
Yeah.
Okay, Michelle was talking.
All right. So I will go over why people have problems cutting fabric. I'll tell you what I did. I got a scan and cut. Company sent one to me. I opened it up. I plugged it in. The first thing I wanted to do was cut an applique. So I threw my fabric on the mat and pushed go. It was a disaster. So I think what people don't realize is your fabric doesn't just go on a mat. It has to be prepped. It has to be either have what I call secret sauce, which is halfTerial Magic and half Best Press. So it doesn't come out like a piece of cardboard, but it has some body to it. And the people that have taken the scan and cut class will attest to this because they get fabric that's treated 3 different ways in their kit. Is if it's not treated correctly, you're not going to have a good experience. And we just showed you in the beginning other things that contribute to not having a successful cut. The mat, the blade, all things considered. And people can say, well, how long does the blade last? How long does your X-Acto knife last? It depends on what you what you cut.
Hot fix takes. Lynn, if you watch my video, like I was pressing it so long.
A heat press is always going to be.
It was it was like a hot potato. Like I was like trying to flip it over like a hot potato. But yes, maybe I did not adhere. But you know what? This is the part that's not even going to be as fixed. It's on the other stuff.
All right, so Jeannie, go ahead and unload your mat. So
do
press
I just
the
hit
mat load.
that button again?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right, then pull that off and close the door.
And
go ahead and lay it down. Now, she's going to be pulling pieces off the mat that are cut on the bias, which means that if she can't just grab them and yank them off of there because she's going to stretch them out of shape. So we're going to use either a spatula or you can start at one corner.
We're taking the fabric off?
Yeah, you're going to start at one corner and slowly pull. You'll see. Look at how beautiful that cut is now. We just had to get the right combination. The right formula makes all the difference in the world.
Pretty thick.
It is. But I have to agree with Lynn. If you have a heat press,
am I going to take this stuff off now?
You are going to go.
Or is it easier to just remove this?
Well, you're going to remove that, but let's remove it slowly and just loosen it. So you don't want to pull and stretch. That's what we don't want to do. We want all our pieces to maintain their integrity. Look at that. how pretty is that?
And in your instructions, it did just want this fabric because it's darker. So, you're not going to have the shadowing of the background blue fabric. It did want you to just do it with the secret sauce, the starch, to starch it well. So that would have been the Terreal Magic and the Best pressed together. And then the Hot Fix. So these might have cut a lot easier if I hadn't have put the Shape Flex on it. Which, in retrospect, I would...
So take the edge. With this, you want to take the edge and kind of scoot underneath
Got it.
So we're using the metal one. Your Scan & Cut comes with a plastic. We're using the metal one because with the metal one, I can actually get underneath those pieces that are kind of, bias cut and actually not get them to shred or not get any fray on them.
Did you see that? I'm such a fast learner. This is how Michelle showed me how to do it. And now I'm doing it just like her. I always say, find somebody who has what you want, do what they do to get what they got. And she's so great with the Scan & Cut one, just like her.
I love my Scan & Cut, but it was never... I have 3 of them, ladies, and I use all 3 of them. It did not start out that way.
So, before we put our next fabric down, do we clean this?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Because you have a lot of fluff there. And so I think when we use our little Terreal, let me go get you a paper towel. When we use our Totally Awesome, you'll see how good it takes that fluff off. We don't want to get it soaking wet because we have to wait for it. We'd have to wait for it to dry. But we have to do the other pieces, so we'll have some time.
That's right. 3rd time was the charm.
So now we know what works with this set of
So I'm just going to go ahead and just spray it.
Mm-hmm. And now just wipe in one direction.
In one direction?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. I don't know if I sprayed
Got to have
enough.
enough on there.
I don't think... Do I not have enough on
you got
here?
it. No, you got it. Look at it. It's coming off. All right, you can add a little bit more.
I feel like there's a lot, like, it's sticking
add a little
up.
bit more.
So what is that?
Is
yes.
this really coming up as $32.99?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
$32.99. Why?
All right, so just add a little bit more.
Can I go this direction?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, under the mat, not the cloth.
Does it have to be on the mat?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. It has to be on the mat. I got scared that it was like sticking, so I wanted to...
Yep. You want it pretty wet when you start to wipe it so that your paper towel doesn't stick to the mat.
And I just...
So I'll tell you how great this stuff is. We have one of our techs here that does a lot of work on the Scan & Cut, who shall remain nameless, so don't ask. But he had my fabric mat and didn't realize that it was a fabric mat to check something, and he put a piece of newsprint on top of it. And so when not only did he try to get the newsprint off and all of the newspaper stuck, but when I finally got all the paper off, it had all the newsprint. I had like the whole article was still on the front of the Scan & Cut fabric mat. So enough times with the Totally Awesome, and it was like new.
So it's raised now. Is that normal? Is that how it always is after you cut? Okay.
It will not
I don't know
cut
these
through-
things.
It will not cut through the mat, but it's not uncommon to have cut marks from your blade. All right, so these ones are done.
Let's go ahead and we're going to do fabric F1. And that's going to be my piece that's F1 is Royal Icing. So that's the lighter of the 2 colors.
And so Jeannie has some fabric left here that I'm going to steal because that way I have it for demos.
Oh, here we go. Okay, so I have this right here. And we're going to peel off. Well, I'll do that later. Let's see if I can figure out how to do this. So I'm going to put this over here on the back table.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to get my computer. We're going to go back to Canvas. The rotary blade. So a lot of people are saying the rotary blade is a game changer. And do you feel like it's a game changer because it is not, because it's a little rotary blade, so it doesn't drag the blade doesn't
it
drag
definitely it just takes longer. I mean, if you're comfortable with doing everything with the rotary blade, by all means do it. Just always make sure you have a backup blade.
When you say it takes longer, are we saying double the time?
At least.
About double the time?
At least.
Maybe triple the time?
Maybe.
Okay,
Depends
so
on
somewhere
how
between
complicated.
double to triple.
Yeah.
So I'm done with this.
Yes, you
so
are.
So can
so
I just
a couple,
go?
Yeah, if you're not going to use this again, you can just delete it. So,
And if I wanted to, I could save it. So save
you're
and
gonna
save
you're
as.
gonna what does it say? It's gonna say yes, save as.
So, but I'm not going to save it, but I'm just showing
Yeah.
them that we could go right here. So will I go open to do a new one or
No,
new?
you're just gonna click new.
Okay, so we're going to go new.
It's gonna ask you and just say don't save. All right. So now you're gonna go file.
Let me see if I can remember how to do it. Import. We're doing the 6x10s, and we need block 3 and block 4.
And block 5.
Are we doing block 5 too?
The wise men.
But we're just doing this fabric.
Angel.
So we're doing the angel and the Holy Family. So I'm guessing we've already done the palm
we
tree.
had the Holy Family. That was in 3.
Oh, so okay, got it.
So
Okay,
I think
so
it's 3 and
why don't
4.
we go ahead and grab 3?
Yep, that's one. That's
that
one of them.
the
Yeah.
Holy
So that's
Family?
the angel and
It's just-
holy, and that's one of the wise men.
Hang on just a second. Let's just make sure because we
So-
have one thing of fabric. So we're doing block 3, or actually,
So block, you can't go by that because block 3 has 2 fabrics in it.
but I can at least see what
Yeah.
the thing is. So
So-
we're gonna go block 3,
The
and
angel.
we're gonna. So let's find,
There's the angel.
and then block 4. Got it. Okay.
So we have to get rid of the wise men down there.
Okay, so I'm gonna click on this, and so
delete.
what I was doing is I just clicked and I hit delete. I'm gonna click on this and hit delete, and this is my angel. Is that the angel? That is the angel. This little guy, and then Michelle taught me to drag it out of the way. Now we'll go get block 4. We want this family, so we got to grab them from inside the stable.
Exactly. So you're
Okay.
going to bring in that other file again.
So import.
I think it was it 3?
4.
And
we're
now
gonna
you're
get
just
rid
going
of this.
Yep.
Okay, wait.
Yep. You're good.
But it's
It's
doing the whole thing. Is that
no,
okay?
it's just got the outside. Yeah.
Okay. All right. There we
And then
go.
you can just move your angel over there. And move it down
And-
close.
And should we lay our fabric down later, or will
Yeah,
that?
no, you can
So-
because you can move the fabric on. It doesn't have to be in the corner. You can put the fabric anywhere in the mat.
Okay.
So Deanna, that's a two-phased question. So you have always had the ability on your Stellaire to change the color of the placement line in an applique to the color applique material and save it out so it could cut it. What's different on the Stellaire 2 or the upgrade with the Stellaire I'm sorry, is you now have the ability to use My Connection, which is a wireless transfer between your machine and the Scan and Cut. And back as well with the Scan and Cut to your machine. That's what changed.
Kim, I like that. So maybe you're not dealing with and I was just reading Kim's comment about it takes longer, but cuts way better. Maybe it's just a little bit more reliable because it's like it's a pizza cutter going across instead of a blade dragging. So I could see that for sure.
Yeah. So whatever makes you happy. If it works for you, it works for you.
So I'm measuring my piece of fabric here. So I made it in half by 6 inches, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have like plenty of fabric to just lay this down in the corner.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I'm ready to export it.
Yep.
Oh, let's do this the other way. So if you don't have wireless, what would we do now?
So if you didn't have wireless, first of all, move your angel down a little bit because you can conserve a little fabric there.
Move him down?
Yeah, move him down. Doesn't matter.
Okay. I'm gonna leave because we have plenty of fabric.
Okay. All right.
And I
So
just
now
like
click
having
outside.
it. I get worried when the edges of like different designs are close.
Yeah, no worries.
So
Right.
what are we gonna do?
So click outside so you get the blue box off. Okay, so now go to File. And you're going to go down to
Export?
where it says...
Or do I just
No, you're
save
going to save as. All right, so you have to make sure, don't click Go yet. So when you're working on the app version, you have two choices to save. One of them is a CWPRJ file. That is a working file, meaning that you are working on it still. If you want to change it and save it as a cut file, from the down arrow, does it say FCM? I can't see. Does that say FCM? Yeah. Nope.
No.
Oh, all right. Cancel. Let's see. Let's do file, export. Is there an export? Export transfer FCM file. So this time, instead of going to the internet, we're just going to export file to the, and it's going to save it to your computer.
Okay, and it's going to save
And
it.
that says FCM. And I would always title them.
I'm seeing it right here. I'm just checking up here to make sure I know where it is, and it's showing me on my USB.
But also make sure you name things, because untitled FCM gets a little redundant after a while because it will keep saving them and just add another number.
So I just called it Nativity 3-4 because those were the, or what was it? It was the
Lady Fair,
and
they were on the
family.
USB that was in the box with the Nativity.
Yeah, it's on your USB.
It's on the USB.
Or not your, is it a USB or was it a disc? I could, whatever.
It's on the USB.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit save, Michelle? And that'll
yes.
be on my,
That'll now save it to your computer.
okay.
But since you're finished cutting, you can probably just go ahead and just send it to your machine. You showed them how to save it.
Well, I want to show them if we
Okay.
take the USB.
Okay.
Because not everyone has the wireless. So let's go ahead, because I don't even know what I'm doing.
Well, if they have a 230 or a 330, they do have the ability to transfer wirelessly.
I have a 225.
Doesn't matter. It's wireless.
Oh, okay. Well, let's just show you anyway, so
I
you
think
know.
what people get confused about is they think my connection is just 300 series.
So, but the
But
225
wireless is 200 series and 300 series.
Well, there you go.
Actually,
So
the last scan and cut before the SDX series, the 650 CW,
You
was
could do
also
wireless?
wireless. I have all three of mine on my Scan and Cut Canvas account. I can send to all three of them.
I don't even know where.
Over
okay,
on the right side.
ready? So here we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna pop this in. It's on the back side. Okay, why am I struggling here? There we go. All right, so if you do want to bring a file, let's say you have a design and it's just on your USB. So there it is. I'm gonna see if I can wing it. Okay. And then, when in doubt, go back.
This is a really important part. So when you're done with the file, all you're going to do is touch the house.
Oh, and home will clear
and
it.
home clears the screen.
Kind of like your
machine.
embroidery machine. When
It's
you go
like
home, it clears it
Dorothy.
and starts new.
It's like Dorothy and her sparkly red shoes. You can click your heels together. You can always go home.
Okay to delete all patterns.
Yep.
Go ahead and say okay to that.
And did you make the transfer from your other? Did you transfer this one to there? Did you send it?
I put it on the USB.
Oh, okay.
I'm going via
All right.
USB.
All right.
So we're going to go
received
retrieve.
data.
Let me see if I can figure some of this out. And we're going to go, here's the picture of your USB.
Mhm.
And let me see if I can, so...
That's not yours. Keep going. Because that's the one I did.
Oh, got it. Okay, so we're going to go down. We're going to look for, because this has a bunch of different ones on it. So we're going to look for the one.
Did it say?
These are all the...
I don't know where yours went. Are you sure you saved it to the USB?
I'm pretty sure. Let me do that one more time. Okay, we're going to make sure I did it. So it was, let me go to my Canvas. File.
Export.
Yep, we did this and we did the top one.
Mm-hmm.
And then we named it. Nativity and so...
Oh, and you put it into click on the verbatim.
Okay,
You put it
so-
into the Kimberbell file.
Okay, so now save it.
Yeah.
And we're going to call it Nativity Angel Family. I'm going to save that, and we're going to try it one more time. Okay. This is good, right? We like making mistakes because then we can fix them. I'm going to go USB. And now I know, because Michelle taught me, there's more than one SVG might be on your stick, which I didn't know before.
There's your Holy
There
Family.
we go. So here it is. And we're okay, says yes, this is what I want to work with. And what was that button?
Scan.
Scan. We don't need to scan because we're just going to put it on.
Well, we're going to scan because you don't know.
We need to scan?
Yeah.
I counted my squares.
Oh, okay. If you counted your squares.
Oh, you know what though? No, we have to scan. You know why?
Because you need
I
the
counted my squares for the coconut cream. I did not count my squares for the royal icing. So let's go ahead.
So we're probably going to have to move
do you
that
think
angel
I should,
down.
Do you think I should put
You
the
can go wherever.
Okay.
So if I'm using my fabric mat a lot and I'm using it for smaller pieces, don't forget to flip it over. And
Did you
does it
see
have
that?
the paper on it still?
Still has the paper on it. Okay.
So if I'm doing stuff like this and
Oh.
I'm doing a lot of appliques and I'm cutting over and over, I don't keep putting stuff in the same place. I move it around a little bit.
That's so smart. And we mirror image later.
We have to group it to mirror image.
Okay, got it. Okay, so I'm going to take this paper off so I don't forget.
So one thing that's good to keep in mind here is
I'm going to put
you
it over
do
here.
not have to increase the Kimberbells, the size of the Kimberbell SVGs, because you have an adhesive
just
on
gonna
the
put
back
it
of it.
down
You're
here in
actually
this bottom
going
corner.
to be pressing it down before you actually stitch it. So life will get much easier because you can skip the tack down stitch now too. So it'll just be your placement line and then you skip the tack down and go on to the next one. So, and the thing that really is kind of, I think, good about this is you have several different ways you can save the SVGs. If you have a Luminaire or a Stellaire with the upgrade, then you have the ability to use My Connection, which means that any SVG or any file like that, you could just actually put it on the ScanNCut, send it directly over to the machine from the ScanNCut. And vice versa. You can change it on the machine, send it directly to the ScanNCut. If you don't have a brother machine, you can still do this. You just won't have My Connection. You'll be doing what Jeannie just did. You'll be saving it out, putting it on a USB, taking it to the ScanNCut. It's a couple more steps, but the same end result.
Okay, so I'm ready to load my mat. So I'm going to load my mat.
Yep.
Here we go. Load in mat.
Also to watch periodically is watch the wheels. If it looks like they're getting kind of ucky, you can do the same thing with the Totally Awesome. Put it on a paper towel and just kind of load and unload. Push the load and unload button without a mat. And the wheels spin forward and backwards so you can clean those wheels.
So I'm going to scan, but it's a little hard to see. I wonder if you
Oh,
just won't see the dots.
You know what? There's an app for that.
Oh,
so go ahead
okay.
and scan. Go ahead and
So I'm
scan.
going to hit my scan button. And
Again.
I loaded my fabric right here to the bottom left corner.
Okay, perfect.
And
So
then,
again, one of the topics we cover.
can
in
I
the
go
scan.
ahead
Yep.
and hit start?
Go ahead and scan. So anytime you are in any particular screen, I teach the ScanNCut different than I teach the machines. Usually with the machines, we go through the machine settings screens first. With the ScanNCut, I don't do that because the ScanNCut actually gives you the opportunity to have the settings that you need while you're in the screen. Okay, so right now, if you look at that, Jeannie cannot see her fabric, right?
I can't see the fabric. I can see where there's no lines.
Touch the wrench.
Okay, here we go.
This is my background image. Change it to the second one. And now so it's select OK. Look at that. Can you see it better now? No? Still can't see it?
I can see the.
Yeah, white's kind of hard. White
I
on
actually
white.
like this one better.
Okay.
The original one.
Great. So now we're going to edit and group them.
So edit. Let me see if I can remember.
And we want to grab all of them. Perfect. OK. And then object edit.
Object edit.
And then group.
Okay. We gotta go do that final group.
And then don't forget, when you were there, remember what we have to do with it? Mirror image.
Image.
Yep. Okay.
Okay. No, just move it. Well, let's move it down.
So in this case, the wrench didn't help us, but she can look down there and go, she's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She has 5 boxes across and 6 boxes down. So then she can just use even the display that's on the other side.
So I think we're good.
Okay.
Okay. So we're gonna say okay. And okay. Please select and cut
Yes.
and start. Ah, it's so scary.
All right, so getting back to the don't increase your pressure. So increasing the pressure when you're on an auto blade can cause the blade to cut through the mat. So you don't, yes, the answer to that is yes, Deanna. You don't want to increase pressure. She's trigger happy over here. She's worried that her fabric's going to
I
miss her
am.
buttons on the pause
I have
button.
my finger on the pause button just in case.
So there's other things on an auto blade. When the machines first came out, we did not have auto blades. In other words, we had to do a test cut for everything. And it's not that I don't still do test cuts. If I have something unusual to cut, I still do test cuts.
Oh my God, that's done.
So go ahead and lift your edges. But you can slow the blade down.
I hit this
Unload.
button to unload, right? Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit this first.
You can
'cause it's
slow
not
your
totally
blade
out.
down. You can clean the blade. You can actually just press go one more time. But the pressure is you're gonna run the risk of it actually, look at that.
I'm so glad Michelle talked about putting it on the, I don't know why, in my head I'm like, you've got to always load it here, which is silly that I was thinking that. And so I love that she said put it in different places.
Look
so
at how
here's
cute.
That. And we could really pare that down. Like, I'm one of those people that likes to save. So we could really play with that. We wanted to make sure you guys had enough fabric and enough room to work on.
And then also, you really don't want to be right up against the edge. So I know that a lot of times when I first started using my Scan Cut, I would try and get everything so close together to be so conservative. But then what would happen is if my blade was just a little bit duller than I thought it was, or it got dull in the course of actually using it on the project, if the blade actually ran off the edge of the fabric and then tried to go back onto the edge of the fabric, it would just pull my fabric up.
Oh my God,
So-
I'm just like Michelle. Look I'm cleaning my mat.
That really, cleaning the mat is one of the things that we often don't think about.
I'm not cleaning the whole thing, right? It's okay if I just clean this bottom left corner?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the only thing you use.
Let's do the next, ladies. Isn't this fun?
She's hooked now.
Okay, let me move this out of the way, and we'll see if I can do this.
Where's your trees and your...
I think they were under, or are they back here? Yeah, they're back there. Okay, here we go. Next one. It's kind of fun.
So there was really no way, I thought I might play with it for a while. There was no way to gauge how much extra fabric that you would need to do the foam, to cut the foam and then cut the fabric for that. And that's why they didn't give you SVG files for that. So,
Okay,
some
so
things you won't be able to cut.
So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the coconut cream, which means we need the Shepherds, and the Wiseman. So
It's a lot of shepherds.
I'm going to come back here, File, and we're going to go
New.
New, and I'm going to say Don't Save. And let's go back, File, Import from your computer. We're going to go to,
You don't have your...
Yep, I took the USB and put it into the Scan and Cut, so let me pop it in here. Here we go. SVG files. We're doing the 6x10s. I haven't gone into the number 2 block yet. So there's one of them. That's the Shepherd. And we're going to move him out of the way. And then let's go back again. File. Import from your computer. I haven't been in number 5 either.
Oh,
There
so
are my 3
Deanna,
Wisemen.
why aren't you doing tests where the fabric is at? Because it's an auto blade, we don't have to do test cuts anymore. We had to do test cuts with the other ones. And in this case, I would venture to say that enough of the fabric, the first cut that we did with the stable and the trees, part of the fabric was stuck down. Part of it wasn't. We didn't know that. So if I would have done a test cut, I likely would have hit an area that was stuck down and I still would have pressed go. So for the most part, you don't really need to do test cuts anymore. That was the beauty of going on to an auto blade machine. And again, if it doesn't cut all the way the first time, that's why you have tools like your weeder and your spatula, so you can lift an edge and see, oh, that doesn't look like it cut. So then you can just put it down and push go again.
Okay, so you're gonna grab your shepherd is from block 2. Your shepherds are from block 3. And then the 3 wise men, those were from block 5. So now I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna get my shepherds. And I already forgot, block 3. So let me go ahead and grab those. Shepherds. Import from your computer. Block 3. There. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, there's my shepherds and I don't need this. So we're gonna get rid of him. Just touch it and hit delete. Okay, now we have all of these. We have a bunch of fabric. So, wait, I'm gonna put him over in this corner. And I don't even know how we had him laid out.
So let's see how big our fabric is.
I think it was 6.5 by 8.5.
Yeah, you should be. This is the way I put them, but.
Oh, so they were just all together.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll swing them around. Because I can. Whoop. Do you think those are too close? 6.5. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5. So I have all this room. Why don't we use it? So that they're not too close and like dragging.
So no, it doesn't matter what version of Canvas you're in. You have the option of sending it wirelessly from Canvas Workspace or from Canvas directly to your Scan and Cut if it's a 200 or 300 series.
6, 7, 8. So how Michelle and I figured out how much fabric to cut is we laid everything out and then we just counted the squares. So this looks pretty good. I think we are, and again, like if I wanted to move him over just a little bit, I can use the arrows right here and I can just, so this is your precision. Just moving it around with this, that's gonna be your just get it into place. So I think we're good.
All right, so we need, go ahead and send those over. So make sure you unclick out of there so
Okay,
you don't just have
unclick.
one
We're
selected.
gonna go file. We're gonna go export transfer. Oh wait, we're doing this. So we're doing this because we can.
Because
if you have a 650 or above, then you can just do it wirelessly. Why mess around with a USB? So I'm gonna do this. And oh my goodness, it worked. I'm just gonna
Ready
say
to
okay.
download. Don't you just love it when it says ready to download?
And now I know to clear my screen,
Click
just
your
like
heels
my
together
embroidery machine,
and go home. Click your heels and go home.
I'm just going to touch my home button. We're going to go ahead and delete that. Or you could save it if you were going to be doing this file over and over again. Do you find it's easier to save it just on Canvas?
I do it on Canvas because I can see the bigger picture. And then I can just, it saves in Canvas. I have unlimited storage space in Canvas. I can save as many projects as I want. I will at some point run out of space on my Scan and Cut. And literally you can't always see the picture that you see on Scan and Cut Canvas. Make sure the paper's off and it's right side.
Yep, paper is off.
The picture that you
Fabric
see on Canvas will
side
be
down.
better.
And I'm going upper right corner. I mean, I definitely took the paper off, right? And I don't even remember doing it. Okay, I'm gonna brayer it a little bit because it was scary when it came up. And I think we're ready. Okay, okay, ready? I'm going to retrieve data. And I'm getting it from the cloud. There it is. And I need to do a couple of things. So we are going to edit. And I am going to go this button right here.
And
I'm going to group it. And then I'm going to say OK. And I'm going to go Object Edit. And I'm going to go back to that. That's the step that if I miss anything, it's going to be this one.
Yeah. And then don't forget to mirror image.
And then I'm going to mirror image. And then let's go ahead and say okay. And I think I already put my fabric on, and I know it's gonna be in the right spot because I counted my squares. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say okay. And I'm gonna put my mat in because I'm scan and cut expert. Just kidding.
You are an expert before long.
Someday, you know what? Someday I'm going to be a scan and cut expert because I'm going to have so much time. I'm just going to play with my scan and cut. Okay, so, but I feel like I'm missing something because I don't see where it tells me, oops, hang on a second. Let me see if I can figure it out. So I'm going to say okay. Oh, here it is. Please select, cut. Now I have to hit that scary green button that says start. Here we go. Did you see Cindy's question?
I did. I answered it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I missed it. So what do you do?
So from the so it's you have a big purple blue button on the left hand side that says download.
Could we show them
Yeah.
that? Okay. So
All right.
this is Michelle's.
This is the Canvas workspace online, and so rather than have the edit, and this doesn't save in a working file like the other one does. The other one saves in a working file because you don't need internet with it. You can save it and then transfer it later. So I'm going to select download, and once I select download, it's going to ask me where do I want to send it. Select the transfer method either to the laptop or to save it to a USB or directly to the scan and cut.
So what are the advantages of working on the desktop version of Canvas Workspace and the online version?
They're a little bit different. So on this version, I'm more comfortable with this because it's been around for a long time. But when I open this version, this one gives me the option of looking at layers. So with looking at layers, it means that if I wanted to layer some writing over something else, and I needed it to cut cut one in one color and one in the other color, I have a layers panel over here that I can look at.
And you don't have that.
I don't have that on the online one. So,
it would be nice if they had like some kind of spreadsheet that was like.
I have an artboard here where I can select, and this says custom size for tiling because I do have the vinyl auto blade kit installed, rolled material. I have something for, rhinestones I have on the other one too, but I can edit. I can just do more things, I think, on this one. And then I can change the colors and the fills, change the lines, change them to dash patterns. Everything else is here. It's just aligned this over here as opposed to how it is, in the other one. But I still have all the things here. What's different is, I don't know why they did this, but they did it, is some of the patterns for like down here. These are the patterns for the auto blade, the vinyl auto blade, and those patterns did not load in the traditional scan and cut canvas.
Would you say that you just automatically go to desktop or online?
I go to online first because I'm used to it first,
Yeah.
but now I'm pretty versed in both of them, so I feel pretty comfortable. The other thing is you have roll feeder here that you don't have there, and paper piercing is on both. Foiling is on both. These other ones are all on both. Stamping, these are all on both. But when you get down to the bottom here, especially the vinyl auto blade, I was like, where the heck did they go? They're all here. They're not on the actual,
fun.
So it's different. And then the other day I was working on a project where I had like a large letter that I was going to do in vinyl, pressure sensitive vinyl.
Oh my goodness, we haven't even paid attention to what the scan and cut is cutting because it's just coming out so perfectly.
Okay, let me get caught up on reading. If you get lint on it, Cheryl, yes. Just because different fabrics are different degrees of linty. The brown was really linty when we took it off. So not all fabrics are like that. But if there's any debris on the mat at all, it's better to clean it. Go ahead.
Eject my mat.
So Lynn has a really good question, and I'm just going to answer that one. It says, if you have an applique pattern that you want to cut your fabrics for, but there is no SVG designs for each piece, do you just scan it to get your line designs to cut from? No, that's too much work. How would you scan it? If you have an embroidery design, how are you going to scan it? So here's what you do. So you're going to put your applique embroidery design on your embroidery machine. Each applique has 3 parts. It's an applique placement line, it's an applique tack down line, and it's an applique finishing line, whether it's a raw edge applique, a satin stitch, a blanket stitch, doesn't matter. So you're going to advance to that place in your embroidery design where that applique position pattern, where the actual outline placement line is, the placement line, not the tack down line. And why? It's a sewing applique. Yeah, you could do it that way. You would actually scan it in, and then you could oh, wait a minute, let me think about that one. Let me finish where I'm going with this one, and then I'll go with that one. Then you could actually assign, so then you just change the color to applique material and then save it out and then take it to the scan and cut. Although the scan and cut can read embroidery designs in their entirety, it actually will bring the whole embroidery design up. It's not going to help you. So, and the reason I don't take the tack down line is sometimes the tack down line has 2 go-arounds. The scan and cut doesn't know the difference, so it'll just go around cutting twice. So it's a sewing applique pattern. That's wonderful. What you do is you would take, first of all, I look at the pattern and think, okay, are the fold lines and everything on there? In other words, is it one of those that you're supposed to going to hand turn it and you don't want to hand turn it? So you have 2 choices then. You're either going to make you're either going to do an offset line to the inside of the seam allowance if you don't want to turn it, or you're going to plan on doing it by hand, I guess. In any case, you're going to scan it into the scan and cut. We do have scanning mats. They work really well for that. You're going to save that out as an FCM file, and then you would be able to cut that piece of fabric. So, and then if it's an old pattern or a pattern for a hand applique or whatever, you can, if you have. So here's one of the things in My Connection that makes My Connection so valuable. If I have a hand sewing pattern like that, my luminaire will read an FCM file. A baby lock machine will not read an FCM file because it's proprietary. It's a fabric cutting machine file. Since my scan and cut cannot save out an SVG, it can only save out an FCM or a working file from the desktop version. But with My Connection, I can take that scan of that embroidery or that hand applique, traditional applique pattern. I can take that and send it to my luminaire or my stellaire, open it in Design Center and change it to an embroidery design. I can fill it.
Maybe what we could do we could do a tutorial or something.
No, the class is coming.
Did you hear that?
Yeah,
so
it's coming.
There's going to be a class where, because it's one thing when Michelle explains it, it's another when she shows you.
You have to see it, how it happens so flawlessly.
That sounds so awesome.
That you just take it and you send it over. The machine knows what it is. It opens it up in Design Center. You can use whatever properties you use in Design Center, and you can create an embroidery design. So
I finished up with the mat. I put my carrier back on it, so this won't get any dirtier. And I cleaned it before I did that.
She did. I was watching.
Let's talk about these pieces really quickly. We needed to put the shape flex on these pieces because this is going to go onto a dark. The dark blue background. So you didn't want it to shadow through. With these pieces, we could have just done the Terreal Magic and the Hot Fix, and I think that would have made it easier to cut too.
Let me ask you a question though. So our last Kimberbell class, when we did the bat jars, we had embroidery topper. You know, the stuff that blacks out. So could we have used an embroidery topper in the white for to go over the brown? Or
but then you're
like
just also adding another layer.
Okay.
And it's not a layer that's fused, so it's going to be moving around. And that topper really is meant for when they're stitching on top of it.
Okay.
So
All right.
if you're stitching a big red car, then you put the red topper, so if the stitch doesn't quite
I like the
cover,
topper. I thought the topper
topper's
was very
really
cool.
nice. But this is ready to go. So this is going to be ready to go for, I will be stitching out the nativity pillow and filming. I'm just not going to be doing it live. So it's not going to be a live feed. But when it calls for this to put the applique piece down, you put it down and then fuse it.
Yeah,
and then
so
do the satin stitch.
In the course of actually doing your nativity pillow, if you already have all of these pieces cut, then you're going to sew out your placement line. You're going to take and here's what my method is I take my little iron, and really in a 5x7 hoop, that cordless Panasonic fits in my 5x7 hoop. But I also have a small mini iron. I warm it up first. I warm it up with my iron, obviously not on my machine. So that when I go to put my applique piece down, it begins to kind of stick to it because it starts to warm the glue. I fuse it, I put my hoop back on my machine, and I skip the tack down and go right to the next step.
So we are done. I really enjoyed that. That is the most time I've spent on my scan and cut. It was wonderful doing it with Michelle. Because I wasn't as scared. I would have stopped after the palm tree drag the first time. So I'm glad we did that together. And I hope that makes you feel more comfortable. This video will automatically post as soon as we're done. So you don't have to, it just automatically posts on its own.
So Deanna, you may have done that. And if you are one of those people that absolutely followed every direction for fusing your heat and bond light, if you perhaps weren't using a fabric mat, if you were using a standard tack mat, then you probably were successful. A lot of times people don't fuse the heat and bond as long as it says to fuse it. So if they put it with the heat and bond side down with the paper removed, when they go to remove their piece, they leave the heat and bond behind stuck to the fabric mat. But obviously, if you have a different mat, if you're using a standard mat, then you may not have that problem. So it's always proceed with caution.
So ladies, hope you had fun. That was so much fun for us. Hopefully we can do something like this later on too, because I think it was great for all of us. Have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye. If I can figure out how to end the live feed, which I don't know. Okay.